Good morning. Am I audible?
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay. So I think you had faced an issue relating to the link uploaded in the LMS. What was it? Aren't you all able to join through that link? Because it shows okay to me. When I click onto the link, it directs me to the Zoom link. What was the issue you encountered? Anyone? Please respond. Because if there is an issue, it has to be rectified. Otherwise, the same issue may arise in the future classes as well. That's why I'm asking. Okay, let me check in the upcoming classes whether it is properly working or not. Okay, shall we start the session now? Are you all okay? Did you have the lectures in the morning, 8:30 to 10:30?
No, ma'am.
Yes or no?
No,
Oh.
ma'am.
Okay, so you were free and we are freshly starting the session, today's session. So you all, I think, I thought that you will be having the lectures at 8:30 to 10:30. Otherwise, I would have taken the lectures at 10:30. Okay, so now let's start the session. Okay, so who is ready to do the review of the previous class? A quick recap of what we have learned in the previous class. Who's ready to do that? You can switch on your video and do the review for your students. Just to remember whatever the things we covered in the previous class, because today's class is a continuation of it. Anyone? From 29, are you here? From 29. From 29. Are you here or not?
Here, ma'am.
You all are not responding properly in the online classes. I was not able to make sure whether you all are really connected to the class or just connecting the link and leaving the laptop or mobile phones as it is and do your own work in order to recognize that. I'm planning to have a mechanism to mark your attendance. Okay, so today onwards, it will be done. The attendance would be marked. For that, I will share a Google Form link in between the class. Okay, not in the beginning, not in the end of the class, not in the middle. Whatever the time, I will share a link, a Google Form link in the chat box, and it will be available. The link will be available, or it will accept the responses for 15 minutes from the time it's shared. And you have to fill that Google form in order to mark your attendance. Sometimes I may share the link since we are having the classes both the days at 10:45 to 12:45. Sometimes I may share the link at 11. Sometimes it may be at 11:30. Sometimes it may be at 12:30 or 12. Whatever the time, it may vary from class to class. But I will share a link to mark your attendance where you have to go and enter your email ID and your registration number, the complete registration number you have to enter. And the thing is, you can fill the form only once, just for yourself, because the response is limited to one. You can't fill for others. And again, it will be only available for 15 minutes. Those who are really connected, really in the classroom only, would be able to mark the attendance. Okay. And the attendance policy, as per the university curriculum or the handbook, you have to have 80% of the attendance in order to sit for the final examination. Okay. So this is how the class will progress from today onwards. Is that okay? Are you all clear with that? You just need to enter your email ID and your registration number, the complete registration number. Again, making mistakes in entering your registration number will also cause an issue for yourself, because the complete registration numbers only will be accepted and considered for the attendance. Don't just enter your registration number as COM51, MS51, not just. The complete registration number should be entered. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will move to the session. Okay. Is there anyone to do the review? I had just demonstrated how you can do the review in the last class. Just a quick recap. You don't need to explain everything in detail. Anyone? Any volunteers? Any active person, proactive person in the classroom? Out of 154, no one is voluntarily ready to do the recap. Since this is the second class, I don't want to put in trouble because you may not ready today, but from the next class onwards, once the notes or the material is uploaded, you have to have a proper understanding of this material and you have to be ready for the review. Okay. If I'm calling a number and if you are not responding, again, you will be removed from the link. Okay. So this will be the practice from the upcoming classes. It will be implemented, but the attendance will be marked today onwards. And again, I have uploaded the recommended reading material, that the ebook in the LMS. I hope you all would have able to access the ebook, the recommended reading for this course. Okay. If you have any issues in accessing that ebook, please let me know, or else whatever it is uploaded in the LMS, if you have any issues of accessing it, please let me know. Okay. So now we will move to the session directly. So in the previous class, we have just started the session with overview of the organizational behavior, where we have learned about the basic concept of these management, what you have learned earlier in your first year, and then slowly move to the organizational behavior, and where we have seen or just learn about the different disciplines which have contributed to the emergence of the field of organizational behavior. With that, we have stopped in the previous class. Okay. So we will move today's session from that onwards. Continue the session. Okay, so this is where we stopped in the previous class, and the next one is the challenges and opportunities for the field of organizational behavior. So in current world, what are the challenges and what are the opportunities which are available for the current world or the organization, field of organizational behavior, or the managers, how the present environment could let them perform well by offering the opportunities, or let them or down to the bottom line by imposing some challenges. Okay. So the first challenge is responding to the economic pressures. As you know, as you all can see, that our country is facing the huge economic crisis in these days. The inflation is really high, and again, the people are facing the shortage of goods and the queue lines for everything. So this kind of economic situation is existing in Sri Lanka in today's world. Oh, in these days, the Sri Lanka is facing a trouble in relation to the consumption of the goods and services and the inflation, high inflation. So in those kind of situation, again, the behavioral issues may arise in the people, not only about the spending or not only about the income, the financial perspective. Due to this pressure on economics or the economic pressure, the people may feel some behavioral issues as well. So how the management have to deal with these economic pressures, so economic crisis and the behavioral changes occurring in the people's mind or their activity, how they have to deal with. That is one of the challenge or the opportunity brought into the field of organizational behavior. Okay. So during the difficult economic times, the effective management is often at a premium. So in this economic crisis, in this prevailing situation of worse economic crisis, still some of the organizations could able to perform well, and some of the organizations are struggling to even survive in the market. So many of the organizations, many small organizations, or even the large organizations also, they have closed down their operations, but still some of the organization, they are performing very well, and they are like capitalizing on these challenges imposed by these economic crises. So, what's the difference? What makes the difference between these high performing organization and these low performing organization which closed down their operation during the economic crisis? What makes this difference is the management. So, if there is an effective management in an organization to deal with these kind of unexpected events, especially the economic pressures, then the organization will be facing a great thing, and it will be a premium for that organization. So anybody can run a company when the business is booming, when the economic is really good, when the people's or the population's income is increasing. Anybody can run the business, because since the increase in income will lead to increase in demands, and the people may purchase the goods and services from the organization, so that automatically the sales will be growing. There is nothing to do for the management in a situation where the economy is really growing and the people's income is continuously increasing. But the issue arises when the times are really bad. That means when the economy is facing a recession, or maybe they're facing the crisis situation, then it will be very difficult for the managers to deal with the situation, and in at least to survive within the market. So that kind of worse situation would be faced by the managers. So when the times are bad, though the managers are the front line with the employees who must be fired and who are asked to make do with this, and who worry about their future. Okay. So in the time of economic crisis, you would have seen that in Sri Lanka, or even the global economy is facing a crisis in these days. So many of the multinational organizations have laid down their workers, that the layout has happened. Okay. So that means they have fired many of the workers. They have like cut down their cost by firing the workers who have already employed by the organization, and they are asked to do less, and even the managers cannot make sure whether there is a job security for themselves or not. With whatever the time, they may lose their job. That kind of uncertain situation is there in the economic crisis. So the difference between good and bad management can be the difference between the profit and loss, ultimately between the survival and the failure of the organization. Okay? So in good time, understanding how to reward, satisfy, and retain is at a premium. In bad time, issues like stress, decision making, and coping come to the fore. Maybe the concern for the manager. So, how this economic pressure and the good time and bad time is related to OB, because in good time, the managers may need to take the decisions regarding rewarding the people, how we can provide a satisfactory work environment to the employees in order to keep them satisfied, and how we can motivate the people in order to perform even better. So those kind of decisions have to be taken in relation to the behavioral issues. But in bad time, the people may feel stress, and they may worry about their future. They may be dissatisfied with their job. If the management is cutting some allowances and all, the people will be really dissatisfied. So in that situation, it's manager's job is to make people aware of the issues faced by the organization and getting the acceptance to work for that particular organization. So that kind of things have to be done by the managers in time of the bad in a situation of bad economic crisis. Okay, so the economic pressure can provide opportunities when it is good, and it can challenge the managers when it is bad. Okay, so this is the first opportunity and challenge, and how the economy is related to the OB is important. And the second challenge faced or opportunity faced by the organizational behavior is the globalization. Again, the globalization is there in everywhere, and organizations are no longer constrained by the national border. When you have like looked into the history, okay, so if you look into the history, you can see that the organizations were functioning only within the geographical boundaries, maybe within the national borders. But now the world has become a village. The globe has become a village where the national boundaries were broken down by the organization, and the organization used to get inputs from outside of the national boundaries, that mean from the foreign countries, as well as they used to supply their goods and services produced by the organization to the outside nations. Okay, so this implies the globalization implies increased foreign assignment. So if you are a manager, you are increasingly likely to find that a foreign assignment, that you have to deal with a workforce which is not familiar to yourself. Okay, if you are just functioning within the national boundary, within your country only, everyone working with yourself or around yourself will be the people from your country. Okay, they are somewhat familiar to you. But if you are dealing with a foreign assignment, you have to deal with the foreigners. They have raised up in a different culture. They are like using different languages and all. Their behavioral pattern, everything would be differ from yourself. So that kind of implications are there due to the globalization. Again, working with the people from different cultures. So managers at global companies have come to realize that economic values are not universally transferable. Some economic values, so whatever some things which is really valued by ourselves or our country people may not be valued by the foreign people. So they may give the priority or the preference to something else than the other people. So the cultural differences are there. So they have to realize that the cultural things faced by the national country people may differ from the global country people. So we have to adapt to our workforce, we have to adapt to our decision in order to cope with the foreign culture. Okay. So this is the second challenge and the opportunity. And the third one is overseeing the movement of the job countries with low cost labor is also related to the globalization. So you'd have studied or heard that some of the countries are employing the labor from some other countries. Even they have adequate labor force within their country, even they can get employees from their nation. They are like establishing their factories outside of the geographical boundary, outside of their country, and getting the workforces from outside of the national border. Why it is because in order to reduce the cost, the labor cost only, they are setting the factories outside the country and employing the people at a lower cost because maybe that particular country's employees may demand high wages while the other countries or other people may demand low wages so that they can reduce the labor cost. This is also something associated with the globalization. So the next one is the managing workforce diversity. Again, one of the most important challenge for organization is adapting to the people who are different. Okay, so again with this globalization, the people who attach to the organizations are really different. Earlier, the organization may have employed the employees who are almost similar to the other people. Their values, their the preferences, the behavioral patterns, the personality, the way of making decisions, the way of dealing with problems, and also everything would have been almost similar to other people. However, with the globalization, the differences among the people have increased. Okay, so the workforce diversity where the organizations are becoming very much heterogeneous. That means where the people are different from one another. If you have seen an organization, the person A is highly different from the person B. There is no any like similarities. Sometimes there may be similarities, but more than the similarities, there are differences among the people. So nowadays, these differences are really high. Okay, so workforce diversity presents great opportunities and poses the challenging question for the managers and employees in all countries. Okay, so again, this workforce diversity, it can give both some of opportunities to the organization. Again, it can create some new challenges to the organization than the previous. Okay, so this is the third thing, which is creating opportunity and challenge for the organizational behavior. So this workforce diversity will be taught in detail in the upcoming chapters. Okay, so where you can understand this concept even more clearly. Okay, and the fourth challenge or opportunity for the OB is improving the customer service. Today, majority of the employees work in the service job. Okay, if in maybe in the past, most of the organizations are engaging in the manufacturing goods. That means they are dealing with the physical goods. But today, many of the works are service in nature. Okay, so they are providing service to the customer. So the common characteristics of this job is substantial interaction with an organization's customer. So if an organization is providing a service to the customers, then that organization must have the frequent interaction with the customers. But if you are producing something and if you are supplying that to the customers, there is no direct interaction with the customers and your organization. But if you are providing the service, there is a direct interaction. You can thought about the examples like if you are going to have a haircut, that is the service organization. You and your saloon member will be directly interacting with each other. But if you have gone to purchase like a noodles packet, maybe, then you don't know who is the manufacturer of this organization, the noodles packet, and you don't have a proper interaction with that the manufacturer of that product. So this customer interaction provides some opportunities as well as the challenges for this field of OB. So OB can provide considerable guidance in shaping the managers who create a culture in which the employees are friendly, they are cautious, accessible, knowledgeable, prompt in responding to the customer needs, and willing to do what's necessary to please the customer. So, when the customer interaction is really high, then the employees who are dealing with the customers should be really friendly and they have to respect the customers' needs and all, and they should be willing to do a service and please the customers in order to keep them with the organization. Okay. And the fifth challenge for the opportunity for the OB is Improving the people skill. Again, the interpersonal skills or the people skill is really necessary. It's highly required in today's world, in these days, current days, than in the previous. Because with the technical knowledge only, the previous people would have able to survive in the organization. The employees would have survived with the technical knowledge alone. But in today's world, even the frontline employees also need some extent of these people's skill if they want to deal with other people, maybe the clients, maybe the colleagues within an organization. Okay? And the sixth challenge is stimulating the innovation and change. Again, the organization in these days cannot survive if they are not innovating, if they are not initiating some new things than in the past. So if you are still surviving with the same thing, if you are not introducing new products or services to the market, again, you will be run out from there. You will be like the competitors. You cannot outperform the competitors. The competitors will make you leave the market, and you can't survive within the market, and you can't compete with the other people. Okay, so a continuous innovation and change is necessary if an organization want to survive successfully in the market. So today's successful organization must foster the innovation and master the art of change, and they'll become the candidate for extinction. So victory will go to the organization that maintain their flexibility. So today organization can't be rigid. So they have to flexible enough to adapt to the changes happening in the external environment, and they have to proactive about the changes and proactively respond. They have to proactively predict the changes and respond to the changes. Okay, that's how the organization have to be in these days. Again, improve their quality, beat their competition to the marketplace with a constant stream of innovation of products and services. An organization employees can be the impetus for the innovation and change, or they can be a major stumbling block. So, why these innovation and change is related to OB is because the people who brought about the innovation is the employees who works for that particular organization. Sometimes the employees may really keen on innovating something, continuously introducing new things to the organization. Sometimes the employees may act as a resistant for the innovation and resistance for the change. So, what you have to do in by using the concept of OB is you have to make the people flexible. You have to motivate the employee to innovate in their work. And the next challenge is coping with the temporariness. Okay, not like in the past. Today, the temporariness or the temporary nature of the work is really increasing. Maybe earlier, the people might have joined for that organization as a permanent employee, but today the people they just want to engage themselves with the organization in a temporary nature. Okay, so the result is that most managers and employees today work in a climate best characterized as the temporary. So workers must continuously update their knowledge and skill to perform the new job requirement. Again, the employees want to work for an organization temporarily, and the organization also they don't want to hire the employees permanently because they need the employees to innovate continuously, and they continuously update the knowledge and skills if they want to perform really high, if they want to perform well about their job requirements. So today's managers and employees they must learn to cope with the temporariness, the flexibility, the spontaneity, and unpredictability caused by the external environment. So the study of OB can help to do better and understand a world of continuous change. Okay, so the OB and OB concepts could let the people to continuously work with this temporariness and to cope with this resistance and all. Okay. Uh, the next one is LMS. Yeah, please excuse me for a while, students. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Okay, shall we continue? Students,
Okay, ma'am.
are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the next challenge and opportunity for the OB is the working in networked organization. I think you would have read the slides during this time. So the networked organization mean the people communicate and work together even though they may be thousands of miles. So even the people are physically apart from one another. They are not in a particular place or in a particular organization, but they connect together and work together, connect together through the new technologies with the internet technology, and the people work together for a specified organization. Okay. So here, the manager's job is different in a networked organization. So working in a physical organization, the where the people, everyone will be they are in a particular place. Uh, in such a situation, the role of manager would be really different with the network organization. Networked organization, people are not really there. They can't even meet face to face, so that everything will be communicated in a remote manner through the online communication for the computers and all. So in such a situation, the individuals are not physically present in a location, so that the attitudes, the behavioral issues, and the satisfaction, the stress faced by the employees, so everything will be differ from a physical situation. So such thing the managers have to understand, and the managers must develop new skills in order to deal with such kind of a situation. In a remote situation, they have to develop new skills. They really want to deal with that people. So OB can provide a valuable insight to help with honing these skills. Okay. So that is the next challenge posed by this organization. Yeah, Form 69. Form 16. ZZOO. Who is that? You better rename with the registration number as everyone. Okay. So the next challenge is helping the employees balance work-life conflicts. Again, since the people, even the all the members in the organization or all the members in a family are nowadays working, especially the dual parents or the dual working couples are there, that the husband and wife is working. And in such situation, when the females or women are actually engaging in the work, then balancing their work and the family life is an issue or is a challenge for themselves, not only for the women but also the men also. Challenging or properly balancing their work life with their personal life is a challenging issue. Okay, first, how do the work life conflicts come about? Like the creation of the global organization means the world never sleep, because the timing of our country and the timing of the other country may be different. So we might have to work in night hours, if because our clients are from some other country, and that is a day for themselves. Okay, so because of these globalization and the foreign assignment, the people never sleep, so it's very difficult for the people to balance their work life and the personal life. Second thing, the communication technology allow many technical and professional employees to do their work from anywhere, because with the COVID-19, the world has almost adapted to the virtual environment. But even before also, there's a rare cases of these virtual environments. So where especially the professionals and the technical people, they don't need to go for the organization. They can work from the house or wherever they want. They can work for the organization. But it also means they may feel like they never really get away from the office, because the people, you might have heard that the people used to always complain that even I'm working from the home, I can't get out of the computer, I can't get out of the machine, because continuously they are giving us the assignment and continuously they are monitoring ourselves. If I'm not there just for a 5 minutes, again the management will call me to get into the office. So that's how the my friends or the people who work remote have complained me during the COVID-19 period. So that's also an issue. So making the work life conflict as a challenging issue. Third, the organizations are asking the employee to put in longer hours. So the organizations nowadays, in order to deal with the new assignments or the new things, asking the employee to work for long hours. Even they have hired to work 9 to 5, but they ask them to do some overtime and work for long hours. So that might be an issue. Again, the rise of dual career couple. Again, as I said, the husband and if the husband and wife are working, then there will not be anyone to take after the or take care of their children. Okay, look after the children. There is no one. So that's an issue. So employees increasingly recognize that the work infringes their personal life and they are not happy about it. Okay. So organization, they have to, the managers should have developed these capabilities of dealing with these kind of people. So they have to provide some mechanism to balance the mechanism to the employees to balance their personal life and the work life and motivate the employee to perform better. And the next is creating a positive work environment. Although the competitive pressures on the most organizations are stronger than ever, some organizations are trying to realize a competitive advantage by fostering a positive work environment. So, positive work environment is really necessary, because earlier the people just want a job to survive, whatever the work environment, whatever the building, whatever the charge offered by them, how uh, whatever the manner the supervisor or the superior deals with the employees, there is no any issue. But today, the employees are more concerned about the working environment. So the managers has to develop something, some knowledge in order to create a positive working environment. And the next one is improving the ethical behavior. So ethics is something which is not prescribed by the law, but as the society, it is widely accepted by the society. So these are the things which are considered as right, and these are the things which are considered as the wrong things. So that's how the ethics mean. So organizations now are characterized by being ethical. So behaving ethically, that is a concern for today's organization. Earlier, organizations might not have been thought about these ethical issues, but now increasingly the organizations are thinking about these ethical things, and they are facing ethical dilemmas and ethical choices in whatever they do. So today's managers must create an ethically healthy climate for his or her employees where they can do their work productively with minimal ambiguity about what right and wrong behaviors are. Okay. So the next one is the levels of organizational behavior analysis. Okay. So is that clear about the challenges and opportunities to the field of organizational behavior? If you have asked to write some challenges and opportunity, you may ask to write the maximum of 5. So you don't need to remember everything, but just have an understanding of how these new things or the trends happening in the environment may pose some some challenges. Again, they can give some opportunities for the organization. Just have a brief understanding of it. Okay. So is that clear? Anything to ask? Anything you want to ask? If the challenges and opportunities are clear? Okay. So if there is nothing to ask, now I'm going to share the link to mark your attendance. I will share the link in the chat box. You can click onto the link and it will direct you to Google form. As I informed you or instructed you earlier, you have to provide your email IDs as well as the complete registration number. Can you all see the link? Okay, so this link will be available for 15 minutes. Now it's 11:38. So until 11:53, the link will be accepting the responses. Until that, you can mark your attendance. After that, you would not be able to mark your attendance. Even if you join later, you will not have a chance to mark. Okay, so now we will continue with the levels of analysis of organizational behavior. You keep marking your attendance. So the levels of analysis and organizational behavior, it can be summarized into a picturized format as you are seeing in the screen now. So it is summarized or it is developed as a model where the input, processes, and outcome would be there. Since it is a process. Okay. So a model, if we have if we see that what is a model, if you can ask what is a model means, the model is the abstraction of the reality, a simplified representation of some real world phenomenon. So these all things, as you can see here, the things indicated here in this model all are the real world scenarios. Okay, so the diversity, the personality, value, the communication, leadership, group cohesion, the productivity, survival of the organization. So all are the real world scenarios. So all these real world scenarios are put into a relationship like a process, and you can simplify that into a picturized format, a simple representation. That is what the model usually does. Okay, so simplifies the real world phenomenon and give you an abstraction of it. Okay, so here we can see this is the model of OB. So we can view the OB or perceive the OB as a process where inputs are put into the process and they are processed to get the outcomes. Okay, so in all these three things, input, process, and outcome, you can see there are three levels. As I already said in the previous class, there are three levels of analysis: individual level, group level, and the organizational level. So in input also, there are three levels. In processes also, there are three levels. In outcome also, there are three levels. Okay. So this is how the OB would be analyzed. OB in the sense, the organizational behavioral issues and the problems would be analyzed. So the model proposes three types of variable: input, process, and outcome, at three levels of analysis: individual, group, and organizational. So the model proceeds from the left to right, with the input leading to the process and the processes leading to the outcome, as I already said. So notice that the model also shows the outcome that can influence the input in future. So input, you can see here, they are the variables like the diversity, personality, value, and those are under the individual level. And in group level, the group structure, group role, team responsibility, and an organizational level, the structure, culture, those are considered as the input, and they set a stage for the future outcome. So what will occur in an organization later will be determined by this input. How we are designing the group structure, how we are designing the structure of the organization, how we are utilizing the diversity in an organization, how we whether we are hiring what kind of personality people are hired to the organization. So all these kind of things will determine the later outcomes or the later processes. Okay. So again, the group structure and group role, how you have divided the team and how you have divided the responsibilities of the team will decide what kind of communication you have to use, what kind of leadership you have to use, what kind of power and tactics you have to use. And all these processes will decide whether the group maintains a cohesiveness or whether the group functioning is at a high level or lower level. The outcome will be determined by the input. Again, the processes also will determine by the input. Okay, that's why they are called as the input. They will set the stage for what will happen in the future. Many are determined in advance of the employment relationship, and the processes means they are like again individual, group, and organizations engage in as a result of input, and that lead to the certain outcome. So they will do something with the input, and as a result of that process, there will be some outcomes in the organization. And outcomes are the key variable that you want to explain or predict, and that is affected by some other variable. So outcomes, they are the key variable uh, that you are expecting in an organization to achieve. Okay. So here you can see the model. The organization is expecting some individual outcomes like the reduced level of stress or attitude, the performance would be high, the citizenship behavior is expected from the employees, and the withdrawal behavior. So all these kind of things will be learned later, so that you can have an understanding of it. And again, the group should be really cohesive and the functioning should be really high. That's how the organization expects something to achieve with this input and processes. So they are the expectation or the things to be expected to achieve in future. Okay. So this is the three levels of analysis in OB, and these are the three variables analyzed under the OB. So the outcomes, now we will see that we have seen the outcomes are classified under three levels: individual, group, and organization. So we will learn about each and every outcome in detail. So this will again learn related to the particular chapters, but we will just have a brief understanding with about this outcome now. The link will be shared only once. Thereafter, I will not share the link. If you are not in the class, joining later, you will not see the link. Okay. So since this is the first time I'm implementing this thing, I'm sharing the link again, but you can't expect the same thing in the upcoming classes. I will share the link only once. Whoever in the class at the time only can fill the attendance. Okay. And you can only fill the attendance once. You can't fill it for your friends. I have shared the link again. 7 minutes more. Okay, so now we will see the outcome of these organizational behavior analysis. The first one, the individual level outcome, is the attitude and the stress. Okay, so employee attitudes, you can see that again this will be learned in detail in the chapter 3, I think. So attitudes are the evaluative statement, how you are evaluating the other people, other events, other things. So how you are evaluating whatever whatever you encounter in your surrounding. Okay, maybe the events, or maybe the people, or maybe the thing. Okay, so they are the evaluative statement ranging from the positive or negative. So this attitude could be positive attitudes or the negative attitude. Again, the stress is an unpleasant psychological process that occurs in response to the environmental pressure. So you might have like familiar with the term stress, but you may not know the exact definition of the stress. So stress means it's an unpleasant psychological process that you are not enjoying to be stressed. Okay, so you don't want to be stressed at all times. So it's an unpleasant thing that you are not happy with being stressed, and the stress is arising because of the environmental pressures, because not because of your individual thing. It's because whatever happening in the environment make you stressed. Okay, so that is the first individual outcome. So what the organization is expecting, having a positive attitude and reducing the level of stress, that would be the expectation of an organization. And the second one is the task performance, that is the combination of effectiveness and efficiency in doing your core job task. So whenever you are performing any task, the organization is expecting the combination of efficiency as well as the effectiveness. You should not only be efficient, you should not only be effective, expecting both, the combination of both. The efficiency, can anyone say what does the efficiency mean? This is already learned in management. You can put your answer in the chat box as well. What does the efficiency mean? I'm not complaining that the link is not working. Let me check it again. Okay, so the link is properly working. I have received the responses. You can't complain like the link is not working. That may be your strategy to ask me to send the link again. Okay, so the task performance efficiency. I have asked what is efficiency. Yeah, efficiency means high productivity. Let me read the answers. High productivity by low cost. Yeah, the ability to achieve the end goals with little to no waste effort and energy, doing things correctly, doing things right. Yeah, yeah, that is what the efficiency. Thank you for all those who have answered to the question. MS8, MS17, MS114, and Form 69. Thank you for your answers. Yeah, doing thing right. Form 34. Okay, so efficiency means you have to achieve your ends, the objective with the minimum possible cost. with the minimum resources, with the minimum cost, you should achieve your results. That is efficiency. And effectiveness is so that we can say that doing thing right, whatever you do, you have to do it properly with a minimum cost, with a minimum wastage. That is the efficiency. And effectiveness is achieving your expected goals or the objectives that you have established earlier in the within the proper time frame. That is the effectiveness. Okay, so that means you can say that as doing things right. Okay, so doing the right things and doing things right both are the the synonyms, or the words which can be given for the efficiency and effectiveness. So here the combination task performance mean the combination of both efficiency and effectiveness. So you should be able to achieve your objective with the minimum resources at the minimum cost within the expected or the within the time frame. That is the task performance. Okay. The next one is the strategic citizenship behavior. That means the employees are performing more than the expectations of the organization, more than the work requirement. That is called as the citizenship behavior. Okay, so if you are asked or required by the organization to work for just 9 to 5 working hours, but if you are putting more effort and working for the organization without any expectation, that is the citizenship behavior. The organization is not forcing you to perform those things, but you are voluntarily, by yourself, you are willing to work for the organization. That kind of behavior is the citizenship behavior. So discretionary behavior, that is not part of the employee's job formal requirement, not only about the time, but also about the task also. Sometimes your task is to just to work within your department, but if you voluntarily provide some service to the other department, that is a citizenship behavior. Okay. The next one is the withdrawal behavior. The withdrawal behavior is the set of action that employees take to separate themselves from the organization. So if you are not satisfied with the management, or if you are not satisfied with the organization, the working environment, you will take some action to separate yourself from the organization. You don't work for the organization. You will try to find some new job and you will try to leave the organization. That kind of behavior is the withdrawal behavior. Okay. Now it's 11:53. So hereafter, no any responses would be accepted. Again, you have played the game. 173 people are here, but 179 responses have been received. Okay, please be fair to yourself. This is not for the sake of the university, not for the sake of me. It's for the sake of yourself. Okay. So think about it and do the fair things only. Okay, so the next outcomes is the group level outcome, that is the group cohesion. Group cohesion, in the sense, in simple terms, we can say that how much each and every member in a group are connected to each other. So if you are working for a group, if you are completing a project, a group activity with 5 other members, altogether there are 6 members in a group, then how each and every member is connected to the other member. That is what the group cohesion in simple terms. So group cohesion is the extent to which the members of the group support and validate one another work. If you are really connected, then you will support the other works and you will validate their works as well. So is one that sticks together. So if you are working, if you are doing everything as a group, then you are stick to the group and the cohesion is at a high level. And the second one is the group functioning. That means the quantity and the quality of the group's work output. So how, as the task performance is the measure of individual performance, the group functioning is a measure of group performance. Okay. So what's the quantity and the quality of the group's work output? So group cohesion should lead to the positive group functioning. So if your group is really cohesive, if you are really connected to each other, and if you are supporting each other member in your group, then the functioning would be really high. Okay. So these are the group level outcome. And the final one is the organizational level outcome, where the productivity and survival would be considered. So productivity means a highest level of analysis in organizational behavior is the organization as a whole. And the organization is productive if it achieves its goal by transforming the input into output at the lowest cost. So it is productive if they are achieving their goals, or if they are transforming their input into output at the lowest possible cost. So thus productivity requires both effectiveness and efficiency of the organization. But what's different from the productivity and the task performance is task performance is related to the individual, but the productivity is almost here. The productivity means productivity can also be related to the individual, but here the productivity means the achieving the efficiency and the effectiveness at the organization as a whole. And the survival, these are the things, these are the concepts which I have already discussed about, so I don't need to go through that again. The final outcome or the final part of this chapter is the survival. So survival, organizational survival is the degree to which an organization is able to exist and grow over the long term. That means you should able to be within the market, within the competitive environment. So how much you are growing yourself, how much you are able to exist within the market, and how long you grow yourself in that market in a long term orientation, not in the short term. Growth in the sense achieving the highest profit in a particular year is not a growth potential, because that is a short term thing. But if you are able to develop yourself in a long term, that will ensure the survival of the organization in the long term. Okay? So these are the organizational level outcome of organizational behavior. So this is all about the first chapter, overview of the organizational behavior. Do you have any doubts on this? Anything to clarify? Doubts or anything need further clarification? Is everything clear? Is everything clear or not? If it is clear, raise your hands. Don't be silent if you have any clarification. Anything you need to ask, you can ask immediately. Okay. So I hope you feel like everything is clear now. If you have any doubts later when you are revising the chapter in the upcoming classes also, you can ask. Okay. So now we will see some questions for review. We will discuss the things. So the first question, which you can review yourself, revise yourself. What's the importance of interpersonal skill? This is the one which we have learned in the previous class. Tell me the importance of interpersonal skill. Why it is important? We have almost listed down, I think, 4 importance. Yes, I'm expecting the answers. Yeah, COM002. Yeah, please provide your answer. Thank you for coming forward, and I hope you all have the proper email IDs for yourself. Is anyone there without any email ID? Yeah, to make the workplace more pleasant. Yeah, exactly. Help the organization to attract and keep the high performing employees. Yeah. The second important. Make good economic sense. Yeah, these are the importance of interpersonal skills for a manager in this working organization. Okay, so you can answer, they will provide you answer in such manner. So the second question for the review is, what do managers do in terms of function, roles, and the skills? These things we have already discussed in previous class again. The functions of the managers, I don't need to again go through these things because these things are much easier for yourself at this level. The 4 functions of management: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling would be the functions, and roles. 3 categories of roles: interpersonal, decisional, and informational roles, and 3 skills: technical, interpersonal, and the conceptual skill. Yeah, COM002, do you want to say anything or ask anything? COM002, are you here?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so the third question for the review is, what is organizational behavior? In simple terms, how we can define the organizational behavior? I have stressed upon 3 things when I am defining the organism, when I'm giving you the definition of organizational behavior. What does the organizational behavior means? The 3 things have been stressed there. Individual, group, and structure. Yeah, that is the level of analysis of organizational behavior. So first thing stressed there is, organizational behavior is a field of study. Okay, so it's a study. So what it is studying, it is the impact of individual, organization, and group and organization have on the organizational performance. Why they are studying it is in order to apply such knowledge to improve the effectiveness of the organization. That is the organizational behavior. So you can ask, first you can start with, it is a field of study, and ask the second question, what it is studying, and the third question, why it is studying. So based on the answers to the 3 questions, you can give you the definition of organizational behavior. Okay. So the next one is, what are the major behavioral science or disciplines that contribute to the organizational behavior? Give me the answers for that. What are the 4 major disciplines contributed to the organizational behavior? Sociology, yeah. Psychology, social psychology, anthropology. Okay, so these are the 4 major disciplines that have contributed to the field of organizational behavior. And the next one is the challenges and opportunities for the managers in using OB concepts, where the managers can use the challenges. So this is about today's session. At least 1 or 2 challenges. You might not have maybe remember those challenges immediately. Diversity, globalization, economic pressures. What else? Responding to the economic pressures, yeah, customer services, improving people skills. Okay, these kind of challenges or these kind of opportunities and challenges require the managers to use the OB concepts in their organization. And finally, we have learned about the analysis, 3 levels of analysis. Of course, it is the individual, group, and organization. Working network organization is also one of the challenge and opportunity. Okay, and 3 levels of analysis: individual, group, and organization. These are the 3 levels of analysis in organizational behavior model. So this is all about the organizational overview of organizational behavior, chapter 1. Okay. Again, any questions? MS53, are you here? MS53? MS53, are you hearing my voice?
Yes, madam.
Do you have any doubts on this subject, on this unit? Anything to ask?
No, madam.
Then why didn't you raise your hand? If you don't have any doubts and if you are clear with the contents, I ask everyone to raise the hand. Okay, so now only receiving responses. The representative, batch representative, are you here? Does anyone know what's the total number of your batch? You know, guys? What's the total number of your batch? How many from commerce? How many from management? After deducting the permanent absentees? Okay. Okay, let me check with that department. So, okay. If you don't have any doubts or a total 270 altogether, right? Management and commerce. Okay, thank you. So, if it is clear, we will stop we will complete this chapter, the chapter 1, overview of the organizational behavior. And I told you to give a break at exactly after the completion of 1 hour. Since we are in the middle part, I thought of giving you a break after the completion of this chapter. So you can have a break about 5 minutes and join at 12:16 exactly. And the lectures will go on until 12:50. Since we have started 5 minutes later, we'll go until 12:50 so that you can have a 5 minutes break and join later. Don't leave the link. Refresh yourself and come back. Okay, shall we start again? Okay, whoever raised your hands, please put down your hands. Okay, is the screen shared? So I hope you all are seeing the screen. There's a picture in it. By looking at the picture, what you all are noticing? What do you see in that picture? They are different religious people. Yeah, thank you. MS16. You can see in this picture, there are different religious people are there. You can see. Even we may not able to properly identify what their religions, but we could understand that there are some differences in the religion. Yeah, group of people. Yeah, this is a picture of group of people. And how about the combination of that group? Happy to talking with each other. They have professional look. Yeah. About the people, the combination of the people in this group. Yeah, it's a group of people. Everyone is wearing a professional attire. That means this may be a picture taken from a working environment. And the people are happy with each other almost. Everyone is smiling. Good communication among them. Yeah. About the combination of these group. There are 9 people almost in this group. The different appearances, yeah. Again, the different form of gender, yeah, correct. The different religion, different form of gender, the appearance in the sense like the skin color of the people are differing from one another. The different race, yeah. The skin color shows they are from different background or different culture. Expressing different attitudes, of course. Some are like smiling, and 2 of them are not smiling. One is the disabled, and the other people are the normal people. So, okay, so you have almost come to the point. Okay, so this is what the thing that we are going to cover today. Okay, as you have seen, it's a group composed of many people where the members of that particular group are different from each other in different aspects. Maybe in terms of gender, this group is composed of male and female. In terms of race and religion, this is composed of different religions. The ability to perform, some is one person is disabled or differently able, and others are okay. And the attitudes are different. So those kind of differences are there in a workplace if you have observed the people who work for an organization. That differences is going to be studied today. Okay, so we are giving a name for these differences as the diversity. When these differences are prevailing in a workplace environment, we can name it as the workplace diversity. Okay, so the second chapter is about the diversity in an organization. Okay. So again, the plan of this lecture is as I have discussed with you in previous day. This is how the lectures would be structured. And the specific learning outcome of this chapter 2, diversity in an organization, is describing what is diversity and the two major forms of workforce diversity. The second one, recognize the stereotypes and understand how they function in an organizational settings. So the stereotypes means they are like embedded in a society. The society have certain beliefs. The people in a society believe certain things generation by generation. So that stereotypes are there, and we will learn about that things. What is a stereotype and how it could affect the organizational setting? Why we should consider those things when it comes to the organizational behavior, and then identify the key biographical characteristics and describe how they are relevant to OB. So we will identify the biographical characteristics which differentiate the people from one another, and how it is relevant to the OB, how the biographical characteristics can have an impact on the behavior or the performance of the employees in an organization. That will be learned, and then define the intellectual ability and demonstrate it's relevant to the OB. We will learn about the abilities of the individual, where we can categorize into two, the intellectual ability and the physical ability. So we will define what is intellectual ability and what are the categories of it, and how it is relevant to the OB. And the second one is we will try to compare and contrast the intellectual ability with the physical ability, and then describe how an organization can manage this diversity, that is the differences among the people, how it could be managed properly. All these things will be covered in this chapter. So these are the 6 learning outcomes which are expected to be achieved at the end of the chapter. Okay. So now we will move to the diversity. I think you all have a basic idea of diversity. What does it mean by looking into the picture? Okay, so it is the differences among the people. Okay, simply in terms of diversity, we can say the differences among the people. Okay, so we aren't all the same. When you look into yourself, consider about yourself, and when you consider about myself, we are not the same. Maybe in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of the attitude, in terms of the personality. Okay, so these kind of things make yourself and myself different from each other. So this is obvious enough, but managers sometimes forget that they need to recognize and capitalize on these differences to get the most from their employees. So obviously, the people, one person is not same as the other person. There are differences. It's obvious. But sometimes when managers of an organization make decisions or implement something, they used to forget about these differences, and they use the same strategy for everyone. They implement the same thing for everyone. Okay? If there are differences, again, the behavior and then that people sometimes should be need that people may need some different kind of treatments. Okay, so the managers have to identify and recognize there are differences, and they have to capitalize on these differences. What the manager's role is, if there are differences, if there are different gender of people in an organization, different age group of people in an organization, managers have to think about, okay, how we can utilize these differences in age, differences in gender, and how we can gain some benefit out of these differences. That's what the managers have to think about. So effective diversity management increases an organization's access to the widest pool of skills, abilities, and ideas. So if you are really capitalizing on this diversity, if you are effectively managing the diversity in an organization, then it will give you with widest pool, a wide variety of skills, ideas, and abilities you can gain from this diversity. So managers also need to recognize that differences among the people can lead to miscommunication, misunderstanding, and the conflict as well. If you all are the same, then there will not be any issue. Almost the people will think about in the same manner. We the people all are falling under the same gender or age group of all the people are same, then almost the thinking pattern, behavioral pattern of those people will be the same. But when there are differences, again, the thinking, behavior, attitude, everything is going to be different. And that will make some miscommunication, misunderstanding, and conflicts among the people who work for an organization. So managers should think about that. This diversity can give you many advantages, plenty of advantages are there if you are properly managing this diversity. But when you don't properly manage the diversity, again, there could be some misunderstanding and conflicts could occur. So this thing, the manager should understand and they have to always keep in mind. So if we define the diversity properly, diversity is a broad term and the workplace diversity can refer to any characteristics that makes the people different from one another. Okay, that is, the people are different from one another. So the characteristics, why we are saying the people are different from one another in terms of gender. Sometimes one would be the male, one would be the female. So why we are differentiating, how we are differentiating them in terms of gender. So the characteristics which differentiate people from one another is called as the diversity. If it is in a workplace environment, it's a workplace diversity. Okay. So this is the basic idea of diversity. Is that clear? Did you understand what is diversity? If it is clear only, we can further progress in this chapter. If you have any clarification, if you don't understand the concept of diversity, please let me know and clarify your doubts. Is that clear? Sorry for the interruption. There's a power cut here. So is that clear? Is the concept of diversity clear? Okay. Okay. So if it is clear, now we will move to the next part, the levels of diversity. Okay. So the levels of diversity means we have seen that the diversity is the characteristics which make the people different from one another. There is the differences among the people. So these differences could be categorized into two levels. Okay. So the first one is the surface level diversity. Second level is the deep level diversity. The surface level diversity means by looking into someone, you can, or by looking into a group, you can say that, okay, these people are different from one another. There are some differences among the people. For example, if there are 5 members in a group, 3 are male and 2 are female, by looking into the group, immediately you can say there are differences in the gender. And say that in that 5 members, 2 people are in between the age of 25 to 40, and 2 people are above 60, and one is less than 20. So that also, by looking into the group, you can immediately say that, okay, there are these people, this group is composed of the people of different ages. Okay, so there are some age differences, again, there are some gender differences among the people in this particular group. That could be seen easily. So that diversity or the differences are visible immediately. By looking into the group, you can easily say that. That kind of diversity is called as the surface level diversity. Okay. The next kind is the deep level diversity. Deep level diversity in the sense, even the people, even the group is composed of two female and three male people, but the attitude of the male, the attitude of the three males are different from one another. You may think about that. Since they are male, they will be thinking in the same manner, they will be behaving in the same pattern. You may think about like that, but when you actually deal with them, when you actually talk to them, you could recognize that their attitude, their behavioral pattern, the way of viewing the world is different from one another. Okay, that kind of thing you may recognize after moving deeply into them only, after talking to them only, you could able to recognize that. Okay, that kind of diversity, because that attitude difference is not readily visible. By looking into them, you can't say that the attitudes are different because they are embedded with their personality. Okay, so that kind of diversity is called as the deep level diversity. Whatever the diversity which is visible and readily available to the people to identify is the surface level diversity. Whatever the diversity which is very deep and which is not visible to the people is called as the deep level diversity. So the diversity in biographical characteristics like age, gender, those kind of things could be easily seen. They are visible, so that the biographical characteristics, diversity in biographical characteristics is the surface level diversity. Diversity in the other characteristics like attitude, personality, the values, those kind of things are the deep level diversity. Okay, so that is the two levels of analysis. That is what we are going to see now. So we will see the definitions of it. Although much has been said about the diversity in age, race, gender, ethnicity, religion, and the disability status, experts now recognize that these demographic characteristics are just tip of the iceberg. Okay, so earlier, whenever we talk about the diversity, even now also, whenever the people think about the diversity, the people used to think about the diversity in these biographical characteristics like diversity, differences in age, differences in race, differences in gender, religion, disability status, those kind of things only considered as the diversity. But if we go deeply into the concept of diversity, we could able to identify, we could able to understand that they are just tip of the iceberg. That means they are just at the surface level. When we see them at the surface level only, we are seeing that these are the only things which make the people different from one another. When we go deep into that only, we recognize there are some other things which also make the people different from one another. Okay, so the demographics mostly reflect the surface level diversity. As I already said, the biographical characteristics or the demographic characteristics, which will mostly reflect in the surface level diversity, not thoughts, feelings, and can lead to the employee to perceive one another through the stereotypes and the assumptions. So these kind of differences in thoughts, differences in feeling, which will make the people different from one another at a deep level. However, the evidence has shown that the people as get to know one another, they become less concerned about the demographic differences if they see themselves as sharing the more important characteristics, the personality and values that represent the deep level diversity. So sometimes you could see that the people from people of different ages, like a 20-year-old boy and a 65-year-old uncle, will be the best friends. They are being as the best friends. The people likes that uncle really, uh, and the uncle also loves that the particular boy, the 20-year boy, a lot. So why that different age group people are combined themselves, and why they are like seeing themselves as why they are connecting themselves to each other is that because they are seeing some similarities. They are different in age. Sometimes we may think like uh, they are different religion and all. Even their biographical characteristics make them different from one another. There is a surface level diversity. There is a deep level similarity. That's why they are connected to each other. When they talk to each other, when they connect, like do something with each other, they find very supportive. The other person is supporting the next person. They find it very comfortable to talk with, to be with that particular person. That's why they are combining, they are connecting them that to the other person. Okay, so here what makes them similar to each other is their personality and their values. The things they value will be the same for each other. That's why they are connected to each other. So here, even though there are some surface level diversity, there is a deep level similarity. Sometimes the opposite can happen. Sometimes there is a surface level similarity, as I already said. The people that five group, where three persons are the male falling under the same age group. But when we talk to them, when we come across only, we recognize that their attitudes are different. So here, the surface level similarity is there, but the deep level diversity is also there. Those two kinds of things are there. You can see there is a surface level similarity, or there is a surface level diversity is there. That means the differences in the biographical characteristics are there. That is the surface level diversity. Even the surface level similarity is existing. There could be some deep level diversity. That means the differences in the personality and values. Okay. When we see the exact definition of these, surface level diversity is differences in easily perceived characteristics. That means just by looking into the group or the group of people, we can easily say that these people are different from one another. Easily perceived characteristics such as gender, race, ethnicity, age, or the disability, and that do not necessarily reflect the ways the people think or feel. The surface level similarity or diversity will not reflect how the people are thinking, how they are feeling, but may activate certain stereotypes. Based on this diversity, the people may come to a stereotypes like the people may have a stereotype like the men are powerful than the women. They may have a feeling, they may have like a belief like that the men are always powerful than the women. When you come across a group of three men and two women, when there is a task which needs the highest physical ability to do, then you will automatically assign the task to the men, because you have a stereotype men are powerful than the women. And by looking into the group, immediately you assign that diversity to the stereotype, where the men in this group also will have more power than the women in this particular group. That's how you think about and you assign the task. And the deep level diversity, the differences in the value, personality, and work preferences that become progressively more important in determining the similarity as people get to know one another better. Okay, so when people get to know one another, when they talk to each other, then they will recognize us these differences in value and personality. Sometimes, even they are biographically different, they will recognize some similarities in this also. Okay, so that is the two forms of diversity: deep level and the surface level diversity. Is that okay? Is that clear? I will clear about these two concepts. Okay, thank you. And the next concept that we are going to look into this chapter is discrimination. Okay, so discrimination means it is treating the people differently, not because of their individual characteristics, but because of the group they fall into. That is the discrimination. As I already said, since that person has a belief of like the men are powerful than the women, when a task relating to the power comes, like when a task need the physical ability than the intellectual ability, the people immediately assign the task to that men. They are not thinking about the woman, whether this person has the ability to do this or not. They are not considering about the woman at all. They are giving the task to the men without knowing about their personal ability, individual characteristics, and all. Sometimes that particular person in that group may be less powerful, less they may have less strength than the woman in that particular group, but they don't think about that. They immediately assign the task to the men. Why it is? Because that particular three-person, the person A, say A, B, C are the men, C, D, E are the women. So since the person A, B, and C falling under the group of male, the task is assigned to them. Since the persons D and E are falling under the group of female, the task is not assigned to them. Here, no any individual characteristics have been looked into. Okay, this is what the discrimination. So you can see here, although the differences, the diversity does present many opportunities for the organization, effective diversity management also mean working to eliminate the unfair discrimination. So, do you think that allocating the task to the men, since she is believing that men has more strength than the woman, she is not analyzing the individual strength of the people in that particular group. She's allocating the task. The manager is allocating the task. Is that correct or not? Is that fair or not? What do you think? Fair or no? Allocating that particular task to the men, since that particular manager has a belief that the men are more powerful or men has more strength than the women. Not considering about the individual characteristics of the, it is not fair. Okay, so that is what the discrimination in simple terms. So that kind of unfair discrimination should be eliminated in the organization. That is also related to the diversity management, not only getting the benefits, maximum benefit out of these differences, but also the unfair discrimination should be eliminated. So discrimination is noting of difference between things. Often we refer to the unfair discrimination. Okay, so discrimination often the unfair discrimination is meant by that term. So which means making judgment about the individual based on the stereotype regarding their demographic group. Making judgment like since the person A, B, and C falling into the demographic group of male or the men only, they are making some stereotypes. They are making some judgment, not because of the individual characteristics. That is what called as the discrimination. So noticing one employee is more qualified is necessary for making hiring decision. Noticing another is taking on leadership responsibility exceptionally well is necessary for making promotion decision. So here you have to think about which employee could be more suitable for which type of job. So here you have to think about the individual characteristics. You should not make stereotype because of the group they fall into. Okay. So usually, when we talk about the discrimination, though we mean allowing our behavior to be influenced by the stereotype about the group of people rather than looking into the individual characteristics, unfair discrimination assumes everyone in the group is the same. So unfair discrimination, it is not looking into the individual characteristics, they are making stereotype of the group. So it assumes that everyone fall into the group is the same. So every male
will be the same. That's how the manager makes an assumption or making a stereotype. This discrimination is often very harmful to the organization and employees. Okay, so whether the intentional or not, discrimination can lead to negative consequences for the employers, that means the organization, including reduced productivity, citizenship behavior, negative conflict, and increased turnover. So, in such situation, the group of ABCDE, sometimes a female that may be a sports person may have higher physical ability than every other people in that particular group. Maybe the person D, she's a sports person, she can perform the physical task very well than the other people. So in such a situation, when the manager assign the task to the men person, say person C, because she's a male, he is a male, then how does the person D will think about? When I am capable of doing that particular task, when the task is assigned to another person who is less capable than me, then that person D will definitely be dissatisfied and they will leave the organization. They may no they may don't want to work for the organization. This is just a simple like example. There are serious cases of this discrimination. When people perceive serious cases of discrimination, they just want to leave the organization. They don't want to work for that organization anymore when they perceive serious cases of discrimination. Okay, so in such situation, the person D will feel dissatisfied, and by again for the manager or the organization, by assigning the task to the person C, he will complete the task, with less productivity than if the task could have been allocated to the person D. So again, the productivity is reduced, the citizenship behavior is not there, conflict may arise. The person D may go and ask why the manager, why didn't you select me? Why did you select that particular person? That kind of conflict may arise, and the D may wants to leave the organization. So turnover would arise. So those kind of issues, the negative consequences may be there because of the discrimination. So whatever it is, whether the manager does it intentionally or unintentionally, the discrimination should be avoided from the organization. It should not be there in the organization. Okay, so this is all about the discrimination. And there are some forms of discrimination. So we will look into that forms in the next class. Do you have any doubts on these? In chapter 2, we have just looked into what is diversity, what are the different levels of diversity, and what is discrimination only. We will see the forms of discrimination and other things in the next class. Do you have any clarification, anything to clarify or anything to ask, any doubts on what we have covered today? Is everything clear? Everyone who is saying that everything is clear, please raise your hands. Don't just keep your hands as it is. I need 151 hands to be raised if it is clear. Whoever raised their hands can leave the class. Thank you for joining.